Hello. It's been a while since I've updated myself on myself, which is probably good for me. It's probably good for me to update myself on myself. I have a bad habit of disappearing into myself if I don't touch base with myself every so often, because I'm not much of a diary keeper and I don't socialize, so you tend to float away. So I'll do a bit of that. It is now 2024. Never thought I'd reach 2024, but we are now in 2024. New Year's was good. Um, had a fine time. Wasn't bad. One of the better New Year's I've had in quite some time. Didn't drink too much. Didn't eat too much. It's good. Actually, no, that's a lie. I ate a lot of shit. But that's all right. Mostly the drinking. Because in the past I've gotten completely fucking hammered, uh, which is bad for you. Um, I have started steps towards quitting smoking, which is good. It's going okay. Like, I haven't completely quit smoking. Problem with smoking for me is it's almost like philosophical. I feel like I don't have anything good in my life when I'm quitting smoking. It's so stupid because smoking is really not all that great to begin with, um, but it's like it represents a little good thing in my day, which is also silly to say because the objective person would be like, well, you should have more than that in your day. Good things. You need to do something with your life. Well, I am doing something with my life. I'm working very, very hard. I do work very, very hard on my business, but that's work. Uh, well, you shouldn't be doing something that's you don't derive enjoyment for. Yeah, sure. Like, fucking apply that to people who work 9 to 5 in some shit job. It's hard. It's hard to be. It's hard to manage your own business. It's hard to be constantly improving all the time. Sometimes you just want like a little good thing in the day to tide you over. That's kind of what smoking is for me. It's like punctuation for my day. So I'm having to change the cogs in the way that I think in my head, in a number of ways. Behavioral. I have to adapt my behavior in order to combat that. The physical stuff is okay. Like, I don't mind being tired. I am sleeping a lot better now that I've cut down. I went from about 80 to 100 cigarettes a week to 20, So that's a market decrease, which is great. I'm noticing benefits. And I have quit before, so I am aware of the benefits anyway. There's also like a philosophical component to it. Like, for me, life is pointless and stupid, and there's really no point in anything. And if you're going to die, and I don't believe in an afterlife or God or meaning or anything, then why don't you just embrace all these unhealthy habits? The reason I'm doing it is I would like more time to work on my business and write a book. I have things that I want to do with my time, basically. So that's one of the things. But the problem is when you're quitting, um, you fall into that mindset of, well, everything's pointless anyway, so why don't I just go buy some cigarettes? So I have to make an effort to stop that, uh, which is an ongoing process. I have like nicotine patches and everything, so um, it's an ongoing thing. Uh, I wouldn't say that my business is picking up because it's not. Um, but I had a sale. That's all right. Didn't make much on it, but mostly just farming the Etsy credit. Um, so the profit doesn't matter so much because I'm trying to sell off my small stock, and I'm gonna work on bigger stuff, and then the bigger stuff I can sell for more. And then like postage in my country has been fucking insane for the past couple of years, to the point that it just cuts into your profit so much. Uh, so doing bigger stuff is more beneficial, more bespoke kind of work. So I'm working towards that. But I had a few sales before Christmas, and I had a sale in the New Year, so that's good. Positive. And I've been working on some figurines. I just finished one. I need to do a little bit of sanding and paint it, and then oil it and seal it, and it's done. But it's maybe the most complex thing that I've done to date. Not my favorite, but technically speaking, extremely good. Not really representative of the kind of stuff that I want to be doing long term, but I chose to do this because um, of complexity, of develop, developing technical ability, specifically anatomy, um, facial anatomy. Uh, working on my process of doing faces, which for most people is entirely the same, but you have to get the pattern down in your head in order to repetition. It's just repetition. So I made like a little guy. In fact, maybe I can show you or show me since this is for myself. Oh, see, and you can't really see it, but at the bottom there's a whole bunch of scales, and on the side there's a whole bunch of scales. Those take a very long time. It's all custom made armor, and then the facial anatomy. He's kind of like a little bit elf-like. So it is an achievement. It's very good. I just hope I don't fuck it up when I'm painting it, but I won't. I'll be fine. Painting is not that difficult. It's just patience. I mean, I suppose everything is patience, really. Um, and other than that, like nothing really has changed very much. Um, the Emotionally speaking, the grand treachery that happened in 2023 is still a problem for me, and I imagine it will be for quite some time. Uh, because it's really bad. um, it's difficult to get off the thoughts when I'm working because you start to spiral, and then it kind of ruins my workflow. It kind of ruins my day, to be honest. When I think about this person who stole all this money that was not theirs, and their mental gymnastics for justifying that, and because it wouldn't take very much for them to do a good thing, you know what I mean? But they won't even do that. And this is somebody that I've known my whole life, so just incredible. Still can't believe it. Probably still won't believe it properly until the rest of my days, you know. Mm, I never thought somebody could be that way. You read about it, see it in shows, but you're like, well, that's not real life. And then it happens to you, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess some people are just evil. I don't know. Um, so yeah, that continues to be a problem. But I've been going for regular walks, and my eating habits have not been that great. Uh, Ever since my nanny passed, I've kind of not had good eating habits. Pretty much live on sandwiches at the moment. Like I cook sometimes, but generally speaking, I used to be very consistent with my meals, like 3 big meals and then a couple of peasants meals a week. You know, when I say big meals, I mean like proper nutrients and sustenance. But no, it's more like one big meal every 2 weeks. And I don't really have a set plan for shopping lists and stuff, you know. So that's something I need to work on. But yeah, other than that, why is that there? Go away. Things are alright, I suppose. Can't really complain, to be honest. Just gotta keep working, and then maybe somebody will notice. I'm applying for it's like a council run. It's like a bursary. You basically get to stay in the bumfuck middle of nowhere for 2 weeks and do art stuff. So I'm gonna apply for that. I fit all the criteria, but it could be that I don't fit it well enough because I'm such a hermit. Uh, which is what I've discovered is the problem in the past. You know, you may fit all the criteria, but sometimes you're lacking something that ordinary people have that I don't have because I'm not involved in society whatsoever. So I need to look at that in the next week. Um, yeah, and that's about it. Today I have a fucking headache. I had a headache yesterday, and that's because I've been sleeping too much. I get headaches when I sleep because I dream very vividly. It seems to give me headaches, but uh, I took some painkillers, so hopefully this will kick in soon. We'll see. And that's it. That's about it. Nothing traumatic. Trying to keep my life even. Trying to keep it even. Stable. Not no drama. I don't want drama. I've become very wise and very mature and very, because I know myself. I've become very assertive in that. So I'm trying to balance it because I've gone too far one way, where you see this in older people, where they don't want any drama whatsoever. They don't want to be empathetic at all. I've gone a little bit too far that way. Um, from being an extremely empathetic person at the other side of the scale to being not very empathetic at all. I want to be in the middle. Um, tempering, so I'm tempering that. Some people would describe it as boundaries. I don't really like the terminology, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I will listen to some of your problems, and that's okay. I will give you advice if you would like advice, or I will at very least give you my opinion if you would like my opinion. But I will not sit and listen for hours upon hours upon hours of endless complaining. I will not do it. That is not my role. It's not my function. I'm not a therapist. I don't exist to do that for you, unfortunately. And if you have a problem with that, then you probably know somebody I want to know anyway. You have to respect people. You have to understand that the world doesn't exist to serve you. People don't exist to serve you. You have to understand when you're being too much. You have to temper yourself like I am tempering myself. As much as I temper to protect myself, equally so as an external action or actions, people have to temper themselves, have to temper their behavior and how they interact with other people and the world. It's equally important, internal and external. So that's it. There was somebody who, and this is relevant to what I was just talking about. There was somebody who was involved in my life for about 6 months. And I would, consider them a friend. And I cut them out, basically. I removed them from everything. And it wasn't really a burning bridge thing. It was just like you know what? If that's how it's going to be, then that's how it's going to be. I will make a decision now and I will live with it. And I did, and I do, and I am. They, my role very much for the entirety that I knew this person was being an emotional sponge for them, right? Free therapy. Because I'm very, very smart and I've lived a very unusual life. And I have a degree of wisdom about me far beyond my years. And people recognize that. I'm also very, at least I used to be very empathetic. And I filled that function, that role for this person. And then when it came to me opening up and sharing, they weren't interested, right? And in the past, you kind of you glance over it, right? You're like, maybe that's just the way they are. That's all right. I don't need it. You make excuses or justifications for it. Now, I'm much more assertive. Fuck yeah, it's good. It feels strong to just be able to say to yourself, you know what? I've seen this before. I recognize this pattern of behavior. It is not that they're so far in themselves or they're struggling so much that they can't see the forest for the trees. It's more so that they're just selfish cunts, you know? So I recognized the pattern of behavior and I was like, and I wasn't mean about it. I wasn't rude or anything. I just said, not for me. I'm sorry. Wish you all the best. Good luck. But I have things to do with my time, and this is no longer one of them. If you can't return what I'm giving you, then that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a human problem. That's a human error, and I know that they will regret it. I know that I would hope that it would give them pause, give them a catalyst to start to address their behavior in life, how they interact with other people, how they function in relationships. I would hope that they do. But I can only speculate. I'm not interested in the outcome. So now they're gone. I will treat it as a temporary experience, a learning, a very small learning experience that gave me a lot of confidence. Feel extremely good about being assertive and understanding myself and asserting that, being clear. Because you can sacrifice a lot for a lot of different people and it'll never ever benefit you. There's definitely a path to walk where you can be a human being. You can be an idealist. You can be empathetic and good-hearted and nice and holy, but in a practical sense and not in a spiritual sense. You can be holy in life. You can be a saint of sorts, but you don't have to give everything. You don't have to be a martyr, which I think is my problem, or historically has been my problem. It's like a martyr complex. You're willing to die on the sword of your beliefs, even though you know that the outcome will be the same. You already know the outcome before it's happened. I don't have any interest in being a martyr anymore. I've learned enough. I've seen enough. I understand the patterns. I see the scheme of it. There's not a whole lot of variance to it. The pattern is the same for most people, and it ultimately it just boils down to selfishness, immaturity, emotional immaturity, and I'm better than that. I'm better than most people I know, and so I have to protect myself, and that's all right. I think I think that's okay as long as it's not too bad. You never want to turn into the person that just turns everybody away, because then you become the enemy, right? I don't want to be the enemy. I want to be better than the enemy. If I'm winning, it's because I'm better, And I know that I'm better. I just have to preserve it, preserve my energy, so that I can be better. So, goals for 2024. Don't know. I don't like clear goals. I like ethereal goals because then you don't set yourself up for disappointment, right? Just work on my business, get some sales, work on skills, be productive. I would like to finish my book, maybe towards the end of the year, at least work on it a little bit. That will be around about September, August, September. That's normally when I start to do some writing. Uh, my book is not inspiring. It's just a sci-fi book. It's not even really a story that it's not some people, some writers are like, I had this idea in my head for all of my life and then I finally wrote it down and this is the book. It's not that way. I made a story and I really like my characters. And I like the idea of world building, you see. And before I die, I would like to publish a book. So a couple of years ago, I started writing a sci-fi novel. And I like it. I'm about 30,000 words in. And it's like a very basic storyline, but I'm kind of like setting it up so that if I want to write more, I can write more. So I suppose in a sense, it's you're writing you're writing a contained story, but you're not. You're leaving it open. You're leaving connections open for further iteration if you want to. So, but I just like my characters. I would like to complete the story of my characters. It's kind of cool, like writing a person. You know, it's kind of interesting. Like, what is this person's motivations? What is this person all about? Are you gonna base this person on another person in your life? Is this person based on you? What does this person like to dress as? And so on. You know, how do they interact in friendships? Uh, it's very interesting. Um, but it's mostly just I would like to finish a book so that I could say, hey, I wrote a book. That's pretty sweet. And then other than that, just work on my wood stuff, you know? That's it. I need to get a table. I bought this thing from Germany. It's a wood carving screw. And some big chisels for carving larger pieces of work. My problem logistically, historically, has been getting and when I say historically, I mean the past year, because that's all I've been doing the wood carving for. Um, is a table to holding large pieces of work is actually quite challenging because you're putting a lot of force and momentum behind the mallet and the chisel, you know. So you can't have it move around very much. Um, but this solves holding it, and then you just need something to anchor it to, i.e. a heavy table. But heavy tables are both expensive, and it's hard getting one that is the right size for me because I don't have space for it. So that's an ongoing problem. But the first stage is to get money for it, which means selling more stuff uh, or winning the lottery. Either or. So that's where I'm at. That's my life. Isn't it fucking peachy?